Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Lisa from the Law Library, and I see we've got some people joining us today. We're going to be talking about the San Diego Digital Law Library with Andrea Roberts from Lexis. She's here, even though you can't see her. I'm just going to do a quick introduction and then turn things over to Andrea. So a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. This is a CLE presentation today. So you will be getting a certificate by email later today from the library if you are verified to have been here in Zoom. So we'll be checking the attendance report from Zoom and then sending those out a little later after the webinar's over. This is also an interactive presentation. You will be able to ask questions. I'll be keeping an eye out for those so I can let Andrea know when there's questions pending and she can answer them. Use the Q&A function for that. And you can type your questions either under your name or anonymously using the Q&A function. And then finally, there will be a survey link at the end of the presentation today. So if some of you could take a few minutes to take the survey and give us some feedback, it would be greatly appreciated. So I'm going to be turning things over now to Andrea to talk about the San Diego Digital Law Library. And real quickly, we do really like to showcase this resource, especially to our patrons here in San Diego County, because it is actually a borrower benefit here at the library. If you are in San Diego County and you sign up for one of our borrowing accounts, remote access to this database is one of the perks of having a borrowing account. If you want to know more about that, you can go to sandiegolawlibrary.org and look under services for borrowing account information. And if you are in San Diego County, again, you can sign up online if you want to do that and see more information about what is included in the borrowing account. Anyway, with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over.
Perfect. Thank you, Lisa. Everyone should be able to see my screen. So thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon. My name is Andrea Roberts, and today we are going to go over all of the features and functionality of the Lexis Digital Library. As Lisa mentioned, if at any point you guys have questions throughout today's session, feel free to put them in the chat, or sorry, not the chat, the Q&A. So put your questions in the Q&A. We'll be monitoring that as we go. And that way we can tackle any questions as they arise. If you want to wait till the end of the session, you're more than welcome to. We'll definitely have some time towards the end to go over any questions as well. The first thing to start with is how to get to the digital library. There's a couple different ways. So if we're looking at the San Diego Law Library's website itself, under Research and Databases, you're going to see all of your options. And as you scroll down here, there is the San Diego Digital Law Library. This is going to be where you can go to easily access the digital library. There's also instructions here for borrowers. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that it's available on the San Diego Law Library site, so you can quickly jump into it. And also, if you just want to bookmark the site, this is your unique URL. It's lexisdl.com/library/SD Law Library. If you bookmark that, you'll always be able to jump into it from your computer or your browser tab. It never changes. So feel free to bookmark that site. I'm going to be using the computer to show you guys everything today. However, the digital library is available on any mobile device as well. So if you do like using your phone or your tablet to access these resources, you can download the free digital library app. Just search the App Store for iOS devices or the Google Play Store for Android devices. Look for LexisNexis Digital Library. It's a free download, so you just download the app. And when you do, you'll sign on just like you normally would through your browser. However, you'll first have to enter a library code. It's going to ask for a library code just so it knows which library you're trying to access. Your library code, if you're ever asked for it, is just the end of your URL. So it's SD Law Library. Once you put that in, it'll take you to your sign-on page, and you'll be able to sign on just like you normally would. What's really great is that the digital library was created for the mobile user. So anything you do on one device will sync amongst all of your devices. If you add any bookmarks or notes or highlights, they will sync from device to device. So feel free to use whichever device you need to when accessing this product. Once you log in, this is going to be your homepage. What we're currently looking at is my homepage. So you're going to see my recently read titles down below here. As I scroll down a little bit, you'll see any notes or highlights I've created. You'll also see any tags that I've created. We'll talk about all of these a little further on in today's session. But just know that your homepage is really just a spot where you can quickly jump in to anything you've recently been accessing or any notes that you recently added. On the left-hand side, you'll see your menu options. If you click Browse Library, that's going to take you to a few collections that you can quickly jump into. Your recently added collection up at the top here is going to be all of your newer additions that have been added to the digital library. So any new releases or additions will pop up here first. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see links to all of the different multi-volume sets within your collection. If you click on the name of the collection or where it says see all 78 sets on the right-hand side, that'll take you to the entire collection rather than just the first 6 titles that it displays here. Finally, if you scroll all the way down here, you're going to see hyperlinks for different jurisdictions and practice areas. If you click see all 48 subjects on the right-hand side, that's going to take you to a listing alphabetically by jurisdiction and practice area of everything that's included within the San Diego Law Library's digital library. So if you come in here, you can quickly scroll through, click on any specific jurisdiction or practice area, and automatically have those titles or search results narrowed for that practice area. So again, if you wanted to see, all of the different forms volumes, you can click forms and it will automatically bring you to just those specific volumes. I'm going to go back here just so you can see one other option. At the very, very, very bottom of this screen, there is a button that says View Full Collection. So if you're ever interested in just seeing a list of everything that's part of the Lexis Digital Library, you can click on that, and that's going to take you to a listing alphabetically of every single volume you have access to within the Lexis Digital Library. You can filter on the top left here by jurisdiction, practice area, content type. And on the right-hand side, you can sort it by title or release date. This first page where it says all titles is really all volumes. It's just going to show you every single volume expanded out. So you can scroll down if you'd like to see an entire listing of everything that you guys have access to. This is also a nice screen just to point out a few different features. What makes this product unique is that it's not just LexisNexis content available. We partner with Overdrive. You might be familiar with them if you've ever borrowed an ebook from your public library. They host the majority of public library ebook databases in the country. But because we partner with them, that gives us access to host not just our content, our Lexis content, but other publishers as well. So if we're looking at my screen here, you're going to see a lot of LexisNexis specific treatises, or the Matthew Bender treatises, as we'd refer to some of them. But then you'll also see some other volumes. This right here happens to be a James Publishing title. So again, we're able to host not just Lexis content, but additional publishers. So when you do access the digital library, you might come across a handful of these additional publishers. It's again, something that sets off this product to be unique compared to others on the market. This is also a great example because as you scroll down, you're going to see that most of these say read. So if you click read, it would automatically open up to a screen where you can borrow this volume. However, if someone else has already borrowed it, rather than saying read, it'll say place a hold. So you do have the ability to place holds on volumes that you need. All you have to do is click place a hold. and it will automatically pop up here. You'll enter whatever email address you'd like that hold to be placed with, and then all you have to do is click place hold, and it's automatically going to place that hold for you. Later on, if you need to, you can edit that hold, but it's honestly just that simple. You just click place a hold, put your email address in. When that volume becomes available for you, you will receive an email letting you know that you can access it. So all you have to do is log into the digital library and immediately access that volume that you placed a hold on. Okay. So if we're looking at Browse Library one more time, again, you have those collections, you have those hyperlinks at the bottom. However, up at the top, no matter where you are in the digital library, there's a search bar. That search bar would allow you to search for a title, an author, a practice area, or subject. So if you already know kind of what you're looking for within the digital library, you can just click into the search bar and type in whatever you're looking for. I'm just going to look for all of our family law resources. So just typed in family. And what that's going to do is pull up all of our family law specific resources. This search bar is going to look through title information. So keep that in mind when you are running a search here. This search bar is only going to look through title info, not the actual content of an individual volume. So it's going to look through, title, any of the metadata that we have placed within it, any of the subjects it's been tagged with. So that's just the first search you can run. It'll pull up a number of resources. So here you're looking at all of the individual volumes you have access to that deal primarily with family law. As you scroll down, you can see that each individual volume is expanded out. However, if you like to see all of the sets grouped together, there is a sets option. So you can click onto that, and it just groups all of these sets together that are also appearing on that all titles page or all volumes page. Let's use California Family Law Practice and Procedure here. If I want to look at the entire set, I can click into it, and it takes you to what we call a set details page. This is going to give you a lot of information about the set itself. There's a shareable link, so if you know someone else was looking for this set, you can send a link to them. Over on the right-hand side, there's a hyperlinked table of contents. And what's really nice about looking at the entire set is that the table of contents will allow you to switch through the different volumes that are part of this set. So you can easily look at all of the individual table of contents volumes. You can expand out each one. They're all hyperlinked, which makes it really nice. So you can quickly jump into any section, all from this one set page. There's also a search this title option. This is where you can actually go to run a search for a keyword or a phrase through the entire set. So that's going to look through all of the content within each of these volumes rather than just the title information like we ran before. It's a really nice way to narrow in on exactly which volume and section you might need based on your specific search terms. A little farther down here, you're also going to see all of the individual volumes expanded out. I'm going to click on one just so you can see how an individual volume differs from looking at the entire set. So if we look at just volume 1 here, if I click on that, it's going to take us to what we call a title details page. And this is going to be all of the information you've ever needed to know about this volume. On the left-hand side, you're going to see edition and release information. It'll tell you how many copies are available to access. If you need to, you can click read and jump right into it. There's also a copy title link. So again, you can easily send a link to this page to anyone who has access to this digital library. You can add a tag. So I think of tags as quick links to those individual volumes I'm going to use over and over again, almost like a favorites list. You can name the tags whatever you want. You can create as many tags as you need to. What's really nice is they are unique to your user ID. so no one else will ever see them. We don't touch them at any point. Those tags will be there indefinitely until you delete them or you delete your user ID. If you want to add a new tag, all you have to do is click into that, type in whatever you want. So we'll just say, click into it, and you'll see that it adds that tag right below here. Now, the next time I want this volume, there'll be a link to it on both my homepage and under the My Tag section on the left-hand side. Scrolling up, there's a lot more info on the right-hand side. Every single individual volume will have a hyperlink table of contents attached to it. So the way this differs than the set link is that if you're looking at just one individual volume, it's only going to show you that table of contents for that one volume. But you can expand out every single chapter and subchapter here. Every one, is hyperlinked. So as I scroll down, I can click on any one of these and jump right into it. So if you do like scrolling through the TOC, it's a nice, easy way to just quickly jump into the section that you need to access. A little further down, you'll have links to every individual volume here and links to prior releases. So depending on the title itself, our prior releases can go back to about 2011 in our system. When you click on prior releases, you'll see it brings this drop-down menu up. And as you scroll down, you'll see that it lists out each release number, the release date, and then you'll have this blue read button. All you have to do is click that read button, and it will automatically open up that specific release. Again, our prior releases can go back as far as 2011. I've seen a couple 2010s. Oh, this is a great example. Look, there's even a 2010 in here. But if you ever need something further back than that, please let me know. You can always send me a note. A lot of times we have it within our editorial team. It just, basically the digital library started in 2010. So from that point forward is where you'll see all of those prior releases. But again, I'm happy to always reach out and see if we can find an older edition if you need it.
Hey, Andrea, it's Lisa popping in. We do have a question, and it just has to do with the library code that you mentioned earlier. The attendee wants to know if that library code is separated by spaces and if it's case sensitive.
There's no spaces, so it's just one word, SD Law Library, and it doesn't matter if you capitalize it or not. So you don't have to worry about it being case sensitive. Sure, good question. Finally, on this page, you're going to see a search this title option again. So you saw this on the set page, but you'll also see it on every single individual volume as well. If you are looking at a volume that's part of a multi-volume set, you'll always have the option to search through all volumes at once if you want to. However, if you happen to be just looking at a single standalone volume title, instead of saying all volumes, it'll just say this volume. So again, you'll have the option to look through every single individual volume within the digital library prior to actually clicking read. Let's see, if we want to look for something pretty basic. Legal separation. I can type in my search terms, and you'll see on the right-hand side, it's going to bring up all of my search results. And we went through all 6 volumes within this set. And as I scroll down, you'll see that it shows you which volume, which chapter my search terms pop up in. It'll also highlight and bold my search terms just to draw your eye to it. And as you scroll down, you'll also see that it gives you a little bit of a snippet of where those search terms pop up, just so you can see if it's on point with what you're currently researching. There's also 2 different hyperlinks that appear. The share hyperlink would allow you to share a link to this volume and section with anyone that has access to the digital library. So again, if you knew someone was looking for this section and they also have access to this library, you can send them a link, and when they click on it, they're immediately taken to that section. And then Go to Passage will do just that. What that's going to allow you to do is jump right into that volume and section from this page. So if we click on that, it's going to open up this window. It's going to let you know that you can borrow this title for 7 days. All you have to do is click borrow. And when you do, it's going to, good, this is a good example. It's going to open up that release for, or that title for you. This is a great example, and I'm using this just so I can show you one of the newer features. So if you've previously opened up this same title and added any notes or highlights to it, when you go to open up the newest release of that same title, it's going to give you this dropdown. And what this dropdown is telling you is that you've previously added, notes and highlights to this prior release. Would you like to copy them over to your current release? So we call this feature annotation migration or annotation copying, but it gives you the ability to copy your notes from release to release, so they'll always be in the most current release for you. It won't remove them from those prior releases, but it just allows you to quickly access them from the newest release. If you don't want to, you don't have to copy them over. You can just say, not now, open the latest release. However, if I click copy annotations, it's automatically going to copy them over. And then all I have to do is click open latest release, and it will automatically take me there. If you want to see all of the notes details, you can. I'm going to show you how to access those from the annotations page as well. But they give you the option to jump into each of those details right from this page too. So I'm going to just open up the latest release since we're right here. And you'll see when it does open that up, it highlights where my search terms pop up just to draw my eye to it. And then from here, I can continue my research. Any questions on how we got to this spot within the digital library? Okay. Once the title's open, you'll see that it defaults to open in this 2-page view, almost like you had the volume open on your desk. If you prefer a single page view, that is an option you can change. So up in the top right-hand corner, next to that bookmark, you'll see these 3 lines. If I click on those, a number of options appear. And the second one happens to be a 1-page per screen option. So again, user preference, I can change that just by clicking on it. Also, if you like using keyboard shortcuts, we list them all out here under keyboard commands. So if you'd like to see all of them, you can click into here. Also, if there's anyone that utilizes a screen reader, all of our titles are compatible with 99% of the screen readers on the market. Under keyboard commands, it will walk you through how to use a screen reader with our digital library. If you run into any problems or if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to walk you through utilizing that screen reader with our titles. I'm going to close out of that. Now, down at the bottom here, you're going to see all of your additional menu options. On the far right, under settings, you can customize pretty much everything about how you're viewing each of these volumes. Everything from the background lighting, if you don't like the bright white background, you can easily change that, to the size of the font, the spacing, the type of font, if you don't like the publisher's default. All of this is customizable. And if you take the time to customize it, it will remember it for future use. So you won't have to spend time doing this each and every time you open up the digital library. All the way on the far bottom left, you have a print icon. You have the ability to print full chapters if you need to, or just individual pages. You can print to PDF or print a hard copy. Whatever you need to, you have access to print on the digital library. If you know you're going to be printing quite a bit, we do suggest using Google Chrome. It tends to give you the best printing options. However, you can print from any modern browser. So Chrome, Edge Chromium, Firefox, Safari, all of those will work. Just know the only thing we do not work with is Internet Explorer. So if anyone still has a system that defaults to open up an IE, you'll just have to open up a different browser window. You also have a hyperlinked table of contents next to it. It's going to show you where you currently are within this volume. You can search through the table of contents or just scroll through, click on any section, and jump right into it. Next to that is a find feature. So if you click that, this little find text window will appear. And that's going to allow you to run a search for a keyword or a phrase through the volume you currently have open. So all you have to do is type in whatever you're looking for. We're just going to use the same terms here just to make it easy. And you'll see, oops, I got it. There we go. And it'll pull up a list of all of your search results. And I think we have a question. Do you want me to tackle that now?
Andrea, that's actually about a different database, so I'm going to go ahead and type an answer for it.
Okay, perfect. Up at the top, you'll see that it tells you how many matches you have for legal separation, which is what we ran. And all you have to do is actually click these forwards or backwards arrow keys to quickly jump from result to result. It's going to allow you to quickly access each one of these various sections. You can view all of your different matches. If there's one that pops up here that you know you want to jump into, you can click on that. It'll take you right to it. So it's a nice way just to see everything that you have as far as search results for those search terms you typed in. Probably the most used feature within the digital library is the ability to highlight and annotate each one of these volumes. Your notes and highlights are unique to your user ID. No one else will ever see them. We don't delete them or touch them at any point. Those notes and highlights will be there indefinitely until you delete them or you delete your user ID. There's a couple different ways you can add notes and highlights. If you know you're going to be highlighting quite a bit, you can set that feature live just by clicking the highlight button. And when you do, you'll see it defaults to this bright yellow highlighter, but you can actually change that to any color that you need to highlight. And now, as I scroll through, all I have to do is click and drag my cursor, and you'll see it automatically highlights that text. This little window appears. I can add my note or highlight or my notes to this as well. There's no limit on the length of annotation you want to add. So if you like to add quite a long note, feel free to. I'm just going to add a little thing here. Click save, and it automatically adds that highlight. And it's probably very small on your screens, but there's also this little red sticky note icon that appears. And that's just letting you know there's also an annotation attached to that highlight. As you scroll through, you can quickly add additional notes and highlights. You can change the highlighting color really quickly just by clicking on it. So if you know you're going to add quite a few, you can actually set that feature live to make it easy to highlight as you go. I'm going to click on it again just to turn it off. If you know you might just want to be adding 1 or 2 highlights through this text, you can do that just by clicking on the text itself. So click and drag your cursor, and a few options are going to appear. The first is add annotation. And when you click on that, that same window pops up. So again, you have the ability to set that feature live so that you don't have to do that one little extra step. But if you just click and drag your cursor, that option appears as well. Feel free to highlight and annotate however you see fit. Your notes and highlights are always going to be available to you in multiple spots throughout the digital library. So the first spot is always going to be when you're in the title itself. You'll see there's an annotations option next to the highlight button. And when you click on that, it's going to show you all of the notes and highlights you've ever added to this volume. It'll show you what you highlighted, what color you highlighted it in, any notes that you added. You can edit and delete those notes and highlights right from here. There's a find option. So if you've added quite a few notes and highlights, you can actually run a search through all of them for a keyword or a phrase. You can narrow by highlighting colors on the right-hand side here. And if you'd like to have a hard copy of your notes and highlights, you can actually print a hard copy or print a PDF right from this page as well. So a lot of options when it comes to your notes and highlights when you're inside the volume. This is just the first spot you'll see all of your notes and highlights. They're always going to be available from the digital library homepage as well. And what makes it really nice is that even if someone else has borrowed this volume, you'll still be able to access all of the notes and highlights that you've added from the digital library homepage. Any questions on adding notes or highlights at this point? Okay. There's a few other options that you have access to through the digital library. I don't know if you saw it, but as we just click and drag our cursor, there's a handful of additional options that pop up. The second one down here is copy with citation. What that's going to do is allow you to copy that section of text to a clipboard. And when you paste it into a Word document or an email, you can include the citation as well. If you're familiar with Lexis Advance or Lexis Plus, it's the same as the copy with cite feature. So it's just here in the digital library as well. Below that is copy passage link. That would allow you to copy a link to this section of text you just highlighted that you can then share with anyone else who has access to the digital library. So if you know that someone else was looking for this specific text, you can actually send them a link to it. So when they click on that link, rather than just being taken to the title itself or a chapter, they're taken directly to this section of text. So it's a nice way to share a very unique link rather than just a more general link to the title. Finally, you also have define and find text. And those are going to do exactly what they say. If you've highlighted a term or a phrase and click define, it will bring up a definition for you. If you've highlighted a term or a phrase and you click find, it will search for other instances of that term or phrase within this volume. Lastly, you're going to see a number of hyperlinks throughout these volumes. Anything you see hyperlinked in blue is just going to link you within this volume. So it's usually just going to link you from chapter to chapter or to the different footnotes. And then anything you see hyperlinked in green, those are going to be primarily your cases and codes. Those would want to link out to that case or code on Lexis Advance or Lexis Plus. If you're in the library itself, it should link you to that case or code. However, if you're accessing this remotely, so from your home or your office, you'll need to have your own Lexis Advance or Lexis Plus account in order to access those hyperlinks. If you do have a Lexis account, great. When you click on it, it's just going to open up this brand new tab within your browser. It'll ask you to sign in if you haven't signed into your Lexis account recently. So I'm just going to click sign in here. And then it will drop you directly to that case or code in Lexis Plus or Lexis Advance. So it's a really nice way to go directly from your treatise material to the cited content within. Again, you'll have to have access to your own Lexis account in order to access these individual cases. But if you don't have your own Lexis account and you click on a hyperlink, there's no damage that can be done, we'll say. You can't accidentally charge yourself for the account. It'll just open up to that sign-on page and it won't let you get farther than that. So in case you accidentally click on something without having your own Lexis account, just know there's no damage that can be done. That's pretty much all of the functionality within an individual volume. Does anyone have any questions about the functionality when you're reading a title? Okay. Last thing I want to point out is this navigation tool. If you click into it, you can actually click load, and it's going to go through and load all of the pages within this digital volume. Depending on the length of the volume, it can take a minute to load everything. But when you do, it's going to give you a bar graph that you can easily click on. It'll show you where you've added any bookmarks. It'll show you any notes or highlights that you've added. So it's another way that you can quickly navigate through each of these volumes. I just wanted to point this out so that you know that it's available to you. And then from here, it'll allow you to quickly jump from section to section as well. So you'll see showing me where I currently am within the volume, shows, any notes or highlights that I've added here that I can click on. There's a bookmark over here. So if I want to, I can click right into it. So it makes it really easy to jump from the different sections I visited within each of these volumes. Last thing to point out is this history button. It pops up when I do click on a section within this navigation tool. But I can also access that in these 3 lines. Again, on that right-hand side, there's a history option, and that's going to show me where I currently am. And if I click on all of my earlier places, I can jump into any of them right from here just by clicking on them. Any questions before I leave this volume?
We do have one, Andrea, not specifically about this volume, but we do have an attendee who's asking, can you show an example of a research task or something kind of from start to finish using this tool? I think they want you to go back to the beginning and just kind of show the navigation of how you get to a resource like where you are now. Hopefully I'm interpreting that right. The question is, can you show an example from start to finish?
Sure. So we can actually I'm going to close out of here. So say you've, been tasked. We'll use the same example really quick just to go through. But you need to look up your family law resources because you're looking for information on what you need to have as far as grounds for legal separation. So you've come to this volume. Again, from this volume, you have a couple different options. If you just want to click read, you can start from the cover and then work your way through the volume to whatever you need to find. You also have the table of contents, which if you click onto it, you can expand out, scroll through the TOC, whatever you need, however you need to. When you find the section you want to jump into, you would just click it and automatically jump into that section. Or down below, you'll also have that search this title option, which again would allow you to type in, any of the search terms you're looking for. So if there's that, a term or an entire phrase of what you're trying to look for within these volumes or what your task is, you can come in here, type in whatever search terms you need to. And then when you run that, because I didn't spell that word right. When you run your search, it's going to pull up all of those various sections. You can make it more specific if you need to, depending on the volume you're looking at. There might be forms attached to it, so you'll be able to click into the different forms for that specific issue. Again, it kind of just depends on what you're needing at this point. If that's not the specific question, if I'm not addressing the specific question, let me know. I'd be happy to circle back and either help you later in this call or separately if we still need additional assistance.
Yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I felt the need to chime in and say, I realize the interface on this is so different from other databases that we may use. So I don't think we can do enough repetition or demonstration of it because it is very different.
It is. And hopefully as you start using it, you'll find that it's a pretty easy system to use. Using anything for the first time or the first few times gets a little, can be a little confusing or, frustrating every now and then. But at any time you guys have questions, please reach out to your library staff. They know the ins and outs of this product extremely well. And if there's something that they either can't answer or need assistance with, they will send you my way. And I work on this product all day, every day. So I'd be happy to assist you as well. I'm here in Southern California, so we're all in the same time zone. I'm more than happy to, answer emails or jump on a quick call with you anytime you run into any questions or roadblocks when it comes to this product. So again, once you run your search, once you find what you're specifically looking for or you think you're looking for, all you have to do is click that go to passage and it will automatically open up that volume for you. I'm going to close out of that. And I want to go over under my books on the left-hand side, because what that's going to show you is everything that I've ever borrowed within the digital library. Now, it differs because on my homepage, you're going to see my recently read here. Again, those notes and highlights that I've added, any tags. But eventually you run out of room on your recently read homepage. So if you ever need to look through for something that you might have borrowed a year ago, you can actually go into my books, and this will keep track of everything you've ever borrowed from the digital library. So there's not a limit. I've used this product for 7 years now, I think. And so when I look at some of mine, I can go back to the beginning when it comes to the digital library. Also from this page, the My Books page, you'll be able to see any of the titles you've recently borrowed. There is that 7-day borrow limit. So if you've borrowed a title that has a limited copy count or a limited day count, they'll see this little clock icon. When you click on that, it's telling me that, I borrowed this title, it expires on such and such date. And if I'm done with it, I can return it. I always like to say, if you're done with the title, please return it. That way, if someone's placed a hold on it, the next person in line will be able to easily access it. However, if you completely forget, it's okay. It'll automatically go back into circulation after those 7 days. But again, if you're done with it, it's that whole please be kind to rewind situation. Go ahead and return it, and it'll automatically go back. And if there is a hold, someone else will receive the email letting them know that it's now available for them. Up at the top, I know at the very beginning of today's session, we did place a hold on this volume. And I wanted to point out where you'll see any of the holds that you've placed on volumes. So we do keep track of all of them right here. So if you need to look at all of the different holds you've placed, you can come into My Books, click on holds, and you'll see any title that you've placed a hold on. From here, you can edit the hold. So if you need to, if you no longer need the title, you can remove that hold completely. You can also update the email address. So if anything ever happens and you need to switch the email notifications, you can change the email address right from here as well. I'm just going to remove this hold so that it doesn't mess with anyone's holds. And from there, I can continue on. Any questions when it comes to adding holds or accessing titles or returning titles?
I do have one comment. I don't think it's been said yet that if you are a remote user with San Diego Law Library, you get up to 3 titles at a time.
Good point, yes.
For the 7 days, yeah.
Good point, yes. So I didn't point it out, but under the My Account button down here or over to the right, it'll tell you how many volumes or individual volumes you can borrow at any given point. So again, remote users will be able to borrow up to 3 volumes at a time. Once you hit that limit, if you need to borrow another one, you'll have to return one of those 3 in order to access another volume. Down below on the left-hand side, you have a link to all of your tags. So I wanted to show you this. It's the My Tag section. You'll have quick links to any of the tags you've created, so any of the titles that you've tagged with that tag specifically, you'll be able to jump into. You'll also be able to edit that tag right from the screen as well. Some people love tags, so I like to point them out. If you never use them, it's okay, but they're always available if you'd like to use them. And then finally, I really want to talk about notes and highlights. So you have an annotation section in your menu. And if I click on that, it's going to show you all of the notes and highlights you've added by volume. So if we're looking at the one we just added, you'll see a couple different things just from this screen. Firstly, it's going to tell you what volume it is, all of that information. And then there's a View Annotations button and also a Copied option. So this is letting you know that you did copy over those notes and highlights to the most current release. If I click View Annotations, it's going to show you all of the notes and highlights that I've added. It's also telling me here that the copying was complete. And if I want to, I can review each of the notes and highlights that I copied over. I'm going to click Review just so you can see it. And this is perfect. So it's going to tell you here which ones were successful and if any of them failed to copy over. This can be really useful when you're looking to see if any of the text has changed. These 3 successful ones are going to show you right here. And then if I look at the one that failed, it's going to show me that it wasn't able to copy this one over. Notes and highlights can fail to copy for a number of reasons. This is telling you right here, why they might not have copied over. But depending on if any of them have, or if any of that text has changed in the newer release, it'll fail to copy it. It's going to look for an exact match to copy over. So if any of that language has changed, it'll automatically fail. But this is where you can come to see if any of those notes and highlights have failed right from this review page. If I go back, I'm going to be able to see all of the notes and highlights that I've added to this volume. Again, since I copied them all over, it's going to show me all of them right here. It'll show you what you highlighted, what color you highlighted it in. It'll show you any notes that you've added. The citation will be hyperlinked, so I can click into it and jump right to it if I need to. And then from here, there's a couple different things you can do. I'm going to select all of them just to show. But when I do, this little Actions button appears. When I click on it, I have 2 options. I can always just copy to clipboard. So if all I want to do is copy and paste my notes and highlights, I can. I'll just copy them to that clipboard. And I can paste them into a Word document or an email. However, I can also add them to an export queue. And if I do that, you'll see over here, it adds them to my queue. And what's really nice is that I can add multiple notes and highlights from multiple volumes to my queue. So if I happen to be working on a project, I can add as many notes and highlights as I need to from as many different volumes that I need to my queue. There's not a limit to how many notes and highlights you can add. There's not a limit to the number of volumes you can add them from. So you can consistently add notes and highlights as you go. And when you do, and you look at your queue, you're going to see that it pulls up and shows you by volume all of the notes and highlights that you've added. So it groups them by volume. It's going to show you again, what you highlighted, what color, any notes, etc. And then up at the top, you have these 2 options. You can actually filter by different highlighting colors right here. So if there's a specific highlighting color you're looking for, feel free to narrow by it. You can also run a search for a keyword or a phrase right from here. So if you've added quite a few notes and highlights to this page, you can run a search for whatever it is you're looking for, and it will look through all of the notes and highlights that you've added. And when you're done and you've selected which notes and highlights you're interested in, we're just going to do all of them here, that actions option will appear again. However, you're going to have more options. You'll still be able to just copy to a clipboard if you want to. So if you just want to copy and paste, that's fine. That option's still there. However, we've now added the option to copy those to a Google Drive account. You can export it to a PDF or a CSV Excel file. So we give you more options when it comes to organizing and downloading your notes and highlights outside of just copy and paste. When you're done, you can remove all these notes and highlights from your queue. It won't remove them from the volumes itself, though. It would just clear out this queue. Or if you're still working on a project, you can leave them in here indefinitely. We, again, don't ever go in and delete any of these notes and highlights from your account, so you can quickly jump back into them if you need to. Any questions on downloading your notes and highlights? Just want to point out one other thing as we go in here. From your, let's go in here, from your annotations. If you click on any of your notes and highlights here, you're going to get to this screen. And you'll see all of the notes and highlights that you've added to this volume. And then over on the right-hand side, you'll have these title actions options. So I showed you how to copy over your notes and highlights from your book details page. So when we went to open up that new release, that drop-down window appeared and it showed you that you can copy those notes and highlights over if you wanted to. However, if you want, you can go into just your annotations section. And when you click on title actions, you'll have the ability to copy annotations to the latest release. So there's two different spots within the digital library. You have the ability to do that. The first, again, is just going to be when you are accessing that newest release. And the second is if you actually go into your annotations, you can copy those over without having to open the newer release yet. So just a different option depending on how you prefer to access all of your notes and highlights. That's pretty much the digital library in a nutshell. Does anyone have any questions for me about anything we might have covered?
You know, while we're waiting to see if anyone has any questions, and I hope you do, any of you who might be watching this thinking, wow, this is really fantastic. I'd like to try to, get my hands on it. I just wanted to mention again that this is remote access for our borrowers, but if you're not one of our borrowers and you're in the area, you can access this at the San Diego Law Library downtown location and also at our partner location at the Escondido Public Library. You can find out more about our partner locations and what select databases are available on our website. Just look for the hours and locations part of our website. But the Escondido partner has access to this. You can go in, you can get your hands on it and practice with it. And as Andrea said, if you use it, I think you'll find it is really not too difficult once you've practiced with it a little bit. We do have borrowers here that are absolutely over the moon that they have access to this, and they're talking to us about it all the time. So just a little plug for if you wanted to get your hands on it, where you might be able to do that if you're not currently a borrower and you want to take a look at it. So yeah, we have some on Mary Jane. Thank you so much, saying, yes, this is really fantastic. Thank you. I agree. I think it's amazing that this is being offered, quite honestly. There's so much content. And if you want to see a list of the titles, you can not only find them in the database itself, but on our databases page on our website. If you click where it says instructions, there's a little web page that describes the database, but also has a link where you can see the full list of titles. I laugh whenever I see this because where it says over 60 titles, that's a link to the list. We haven't updated this. There's definitely more than 60 titles now.
Yes.
I have to put that on the to-do list. Someone here needs to. But anyway, yeah, I think sometimes it's nice just to see that list, to get an idea of, how much is available and the diverse array of topics here. I think for almost any practice area, we've probably got something here for you. And then, some of those really popular titles like the California Forms of Pleading and Practice. So there you go. The Legal Forms Transactions Guide, that's another good one. Covers just about every topic there is for transactional work. The Deering's Code, I think you maybe saw that already when Andrea was doing the demonstration, but those code volumes are all there. We've got some federal practice as well as California.
You have a nice selection of
We have a
content.
really nice selection, yeah. And I think it's growing all the time, So
Yep.
again, when you go into the database, you can see, I think some of the recently added is one of the things that kind of pops up right away.
Yep.
You're looking for, what might be new or different.
Any other questions while you guys have us here?
And again, I think Andrea mentioned, if you do have any, feel free to reach out to the library. You can email our reference desk or call us. We have a new, easier to remember email now. It's info, I-N-F-O, at sdlawlibrary.org. info@sdlawlibrary.org. And if it's a question that is over our heads, we can certainly put you in touch with Andrea. Hopefully we can help you. And come on into the library and we can help you get started with it also. Yeah, good question about Escondido. Thank you to the attendee who's asking about that. We do have a visiting law librarian at the Escondido branch twice a month. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what days, but if you go on our locations and hours part of our website, it will say specifically what days and hours there is a visiting law librarian. If you want someone to be able to help you there, that's probably the best time to go to use this. The library staff at the Escondido Library are not as familiar with it. So look for those dates that we have a visiting law librarian. I wish I knew off the top of my head right now. I want to say it's like the second and fourth Thursday, but check our website to be sure. All right, got another question here. All right, you're welcome.
Perfect.
Just got a couple minutes if anyone has any last questions. And again, we definitely encourage you to take a look at this if you get a chance and come into the library if you're not a borrower to do that, or go to the Escondido Library. And I think you'll find this is a really, really valuable resource. Definitely a unique resource in our collection.
Yes, and if anyone comes up with questions after today's call, please feel free to reach out to us. We're always available to answer anything.
Okay, well, Andrea, thank you so much for the demonstration. Again, this is a little bit different, so we're always glad to have you to do these demonstrations for us. And we are going to be posting a recording on our YouTube channel if anyone wants to go back and look at this in the future for a refresher. It should be up in the next few days on our YouTube channel.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, everybody.
See you soon. Bye.